name did that before.
See if we are live. All right, I think we might be live here. Usually I have my technical guru with me to help me out, but why don't we go ahead and just get started? I am so excited again having my one of my favorite, because see, if I say the favorite,
Oh gosh.
you know who is going to say, "Oh, I thought I was your favorite
Yeah.
resident doctor," but that's okay. My favorite female resident doctor. She is just amazing. And I think most of you have already met her before. But if not, I'm going to do just a quick bio on her so you understand who we are with this evening. Her name is Dr. Britton. She has been a board certified anesthesiologist for 18 years and is currently an attending physician at UCLA Medical Center. She is a United States Naval veteran who was deployed to Iraq during the Operation Iraqi Freedom War efforts. As a patient advocate and community activist, Dr. Britton, and you'll hear me call her Dr. 10 this evening, developed and co host a talk show forum where she aims to empower women, providing medical education and to raise awareness toward issues that plague underserved communities to create solutions. She also co starred on Bravo TV's Married to Medicine Los Angeles and is currently launching, or has launched, I should say, a new skincare line, which we will hear about this evening, called fabulously named Famous AF. I love that name, by the way.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you.
I do. She enjoys crafting, singing. Yeah, you still haven't sung for us yet on the show.
Girl, listen. Go ahead and play something. Let's get this started. No,
And spending time with her husband and two children in Southern California. So, thank you again, Dr. Tin, for joining us this evening. Um, this is one of those shows that I think that all of us will take advantage of and benefit from. Now, I know I had a lot of questions and a lot of talking points, and we'll hopefully get through all of them, as well as having a period of time where we can ask our audience who are online what any questions or concerns they may have relative to skincare. And oh, by the way, everyone who is on the show this evening, this is for men and for women. It's called 50 Shades of Brown. So that means that from light to dark and everything in between, this will apply to you. So let me start here. So many of us wait until the last minute. We say, "Oh man, I got this here and I got this there. I'm sagging here. I got wrinkles here and there." We wait too late to get into a skincare regimen. And we're always in well, not always, but a lot of people are in a reactive approach to skincare. And whether it's dark circles, flabby skin, like under the chin and all that, and just whatever, right? Then we're trying to, reverse and do like a Benjamin Button thing and try to reverse time and become young again. But a lot of times you find people getting corrective surgery and whatnot to revitalize their skin. I'm hoping that there's things out there that we can do to avoid having to do that. That might be a resort that we have to do for some people. But, I just want to open this up and find out like some things that we can do as African Americans to improve our skin. So I think, wait, before we get to any questions, is there anything like in an opening that you would like to say?
Well, I think today I'm hoping that we can shed some light on, some skincare myths about light skin versus dark skin, men versus women, in general, what our skin needs, and the issues that we have are largely dependent on age, on lifestyle, and genetics. And they really don't have a whole lot to do with like gender, for instance. There are a few minor exceptions, but in general, those three things are really what's going to determine what our skin needs, where our skin is in life, and what we're going to do to make it better. So just keep that in mind: age, heredity, and lifestyle. And two of those things we can't change.
Mhm.
Lifestyle, definitely we can change. When we go outside, we wear sunscreen, or we cover up when we're in the wintertime so we don't get windburn, or we drink more water, we eat fruits and vegetables and protein. So there are some things. And then, obviously we can use over-the-counter medications and do chemical peels and
Yes.
all the other stuff. So that lifestyle component of our skin is what we really can change. But some things, listen, we gonna age, we all gonna get old, and our genes are our genes. Thank your mama and daddy. So certain things we can't control, but in general, all the ingredients, and I like to talk about ingredients as opposed to products. We're going to use all the same ingredients, whether we're talking about skin tone, skin type, or gender. We're all using these same ingredients. It's just how often do we use them? What concentrations do we use them? Those are going to be, and what our problem is at the moment. So it's not really, there won't be very specific things like only, dark skin can use this, only light skin can use this. It's all over the board. We can all use everything. It's just, just like what we eat. It's in moderation, right?
Yeah.
And it depends on the problem that we're trying to address.
Good. Well, you know what? I'm looking at Facebook online, and okay. You know what? It looks like we are on the Smack Talk. So let me quickly share this to Smack Nation on Smack so that they can see what we are talking about.
Okay.
Okay. It's only my second time doing StreamYard, so bear with me, everyone. So hopefully we are there now. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Ten. Again,
Thanks, Michelle, for having me.
so glad you are here. And let's just get right into it. Yes. I don't even know where to begin. I got so many questions.
Girl, you got so much. I know. I'm just like, okay, where's she gonna fire off at?
I know, right? And this is like kind of a little bit of my wheelhouse. My family has been into, skincare, beauty, hair, and all of that. My great grandmother being one of the first and pioneers of African American beauty college in Detroit. So I grew up under all of this and seeing a lot of things, especially for our people. So this is personally near and dear to me. So yeah, that's why I got a lot of comments and questions, because I want people to really understand, what we're talking here and how we can really live up to that saying that black don't crack. So let's get right to it.
Black don't crack.
So
eventually it will.
I know, right? And so
well, you know what? Speaking of black don't crack, so it's funny because light skin, and here's the other thing. So when we talk in terms of skin tone, well, I'm going to talk in terms of skin tone because it really doesn't have much to do with ethnicity or race. It has everything to do with your skin tone. So just like there's skin types like oily, dry, sensitive, there's also skin tones, very fair to very dark. And that can be, you can be Asian and dark, or Asian and light. You can be black and light, or black and dark, right? Mm-hmm. So in terms of skin tones, lighter skin people tend to start aging at about age 25, right? Darker skin tones start to age at around 35. Now, that doesn't mean dark skin people get to trick off for 10 years, acting like they all good. Because eventually, eventually we end up in the same spot. We all gonna be old one day, right? So we catch up to each other. But, lighter skin starts to age about 10 years, or so they say, about 10 years sooner than dark skin. But within that time frame, you have an opportunity to start taking care of your skin from the inside out, from the outside in. You have that opportunity. Don't let it go to waste. Even if you're light skinned like myself, I started because I had no choice. I had acne at 12. So I started at a very young age using stuff and retinols and all that stuff. And it's funny because as an adult, people will say I have, oh, you have nice skin. And I'm like, ew, no, I don't. But I think back to when I was using Retin-A in, when I was 12, before it was cosmetic, right? It was only used for medicinal purposes. So I look back like, well, maybe that all that stuff kind of helped me in the end, right? Like what I did 20 years ago now helps me 10, 15 years down the road. So it's very important that we take care of our skin. As soon as we are aware of our skin, start putting in effort to take care of it, because black don't crack, but eventually, we all end up in the same place.
Right. So it's interesting. I see a question that came up because we talked about light skin, we talked about dark skin. So Derek Nolan said, what about brown skin people? What's that age limit? When do they start to crack?
Maybe it's probably somewhere in between that 10-year span. I mean, if you're like a brown caramel color, you're still a little light, but you got a little more melanin. So you probably have a little bit, more longevity than someone who's very fair, but definitely not as much as someone who's very dark. Yeah. That melanin, melanin, not only does it protect us from the sun, well, not clearly not me, but melanin protects us from the sun. So the more you have, the more protection you have. And it also has more collagen, more elastin in it as well. And so it's more, it's almost like it's stronger, right? It resists aging a lot more because it has that collagen and elastin there for a lot longer. It doesn't start to degrade until, like I said, it starts at 35. So people with dark skin, they, that's a bonus, right?
Yes.
But there's also some downfalls to having dark skin. And that is, it tends to be more sensitive. It tends to be drier. And this is probably what people want to talk about, like the problems, right? Because we know the good stuff. We don't care about the good stuff. It's the problems we want to talk about. Yeah. So there tends to be a little bit on the drier side because for whatever reason, dark skin tends to lose more water. And darker skin tends to, where was I going with this? Darker skin not only loses a lot of water and it tends to be dry, but it's also very sensitive. So there's that thing called post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, right? And that's what people kind of hear a lot about. So let me back up before I go into PIH, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So here's one major difference between light skin and dark skin. It's really our focus. So because light skin tends to age a little bit sooner, people who have lighter skin tend to focus on anti-aging, right? That's usually their focus, anti-aging, because they start to see that at a younger age. But darker skin people tend to have pigmentation problems. So their focus is usually on, how do I fix these black spots or these brown spots or these dark spots? So the biggest difference between light and dark skin is really our focus and what kind of that one problem that we tend to notice more than the other. That's not to say light skinned people don't get PIH either, because certainly I've had issues because I've had acne. I've had lots of issues with hyperpigmentation. And that's not to say that people that are darker skinned don't, start to notice they have a big laugh line, right? Maybe they smile a lot and they've always been happy and smiley. That line, you will start to see a line right here. They raise their forehead a lot. You will start to see a line right there. Yeah. Whereas my light skin, I barely have lines on my forehead because I never raise my eyebrows that much. Right. So there's always a crossing of that. But in general, lighter skin tend to focus on anti-aging, whereas darker skin tends to focus on hyperpigmentation. And eventually, as we age, we kind of catch up to each other where both groups are focused on the same two things. So with the post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, because I know that's a huge, huge topic, it's really, so what happens is when there's any inflammatory incidents or an injury to the skin, the body or the skin starts to make more melanin, right? And it kind of shoots that melanin to wherever that problem is. Like, oh my God, we're having a stressful moment. There's a big zit and the skin is broken open. Let's throw that melanin there. And so because darker skin tends to make more melanin, there's that deposit, that over deposit of melanin in that area of irritation or injury. And depending on where that melanin lies, if it's in the epidermis, which is in the superficial layer, or in the dermis, which is in the deeper layer, that's really going to determine how easy it is to get rid of and how long it's going to take to get rid of. So when you have stuff like that, whether you're light or dark, you're going to use the same products. So you can start with stuff that's like over-the-counter creams, and that's going to be things like kojic acid, hydroquinones, vitamin C, niacinamides. When that stuff doesn't work, you probably have a good indication that this is probably deeper in my skin. If these products aren't working, it's probably in that dermis. And that's where you have to use things like chemical peels. That's when you have to use laser treatments. And remember, all these things that you use can aggravate it, because technically any of this stuff can irritate your skin, right? A laser can irritate my skin or your skin. So the trick is, in order to not make PIH even worse with trying a treatment, is you have to trial and error, spot treat a small area and see if it works. But in general, whether you're light or dark, you're going to use the same things. It's just at what concentration, how often. And then for lasers, those are where you want to be really careful if you have dark skin. You want to use lasers that don't have a lot of heat, a lot of high energy. So things like PicoSure has been shown to be pretty beneficial for darker skin. The Morpheus 8 is another laser that's come out that's really good for darker skin. So you want to make sure that you do your research in trying to get rid of that PIH, those hyperpigmented spots, that you don't overdo it and irritate the skin and make it worse.
Very good. Very good. That is extremely helpful. Yeah, no, that's great. You know,
that's the biggest thing I think with dark and light skin. Everybody's like, well, I can't use that and I can't use that. You can use all of it.
Right.
Skin, you can use glycolic acid. You can use lactic acid. You can use all that stuff. It's just how much and how often.
Right.
Irritate your skin.
That's good information. I think sometimes we struggle with, we see so many different products out there. We have no idea. And we think, yeah, like you said, focus on only one piece of this for light, one piece of this for dark. And like you said, we can use a lot of different solutions to improve our skin and keep it supple and looking beautiful and all of that good stuff.
Oh yeah, dark skin has you got to use a lot of moisturizer. The darker the skin, the drier and ashen it gets. And so you want to use things that are considered humectants or emollients. And humectants actually pull water from the air, and then emollients kind of work as a barrier to lock the water in the skin. So you want to kind of, lactic acid actually is a humectant. So you want to use things that are, specific for your problems, and not just generalizations because you have dark skin or light skin.
What's interesting is, and I think we touched on this last time, I don't even know how we got on the topic, but we were talking about me not using sunscreen. And I said, I'm okay. I don't have to use sunscreen. And, we have people that live in extreme climates, right? You're from Michigan originally, so it's very
cold. From Chicago.
Right. Oh, from Chicago. I'm sorry. Yes. And it's very cold, and you can get dry skin very easily. That hawk hits you, and then next thing you know, your whole skin and face is cracking and whatnot. And then now you're in Southern California. The sun is high. It's hot. In fact, I was just in Florida this past weekend. And I did what you advised, and I put on sunscreen, which did help me. But it's funny that my friend, who's darker than me, decided not to put any on, and then started peeling now, and up on the forehead area. And I was like, so you're supposed to take that sunscreen in too. And
so dark skin has an SPF of about between 2 to 4. So there is built-in sunscreen with just having, with just having melanin, SPF about 2 to 4. But that's just not enough. And the other thing too is, with dark skin, if you don't use an SPF, you can still get skin cancer. And the problem is you won't notice it until it's much farther along, because you're not looking for it. You're not paying attention. You know what I mean? So it's a later diagnosis when things are potentially worse off. So it only makes sense to protect your skin. Not only that, but the more sun that hits that skin, the drier it gets. Dark skin already has, the problem with keeping moisture in. So why make it worse, right? Even if you don't think you need an SPF, if for nothing else, who wants to have ashy skin? Put your SPF on and stop playing with us.
Well, look, your boy, Dr. Joff, just joined.
Oh, Jesus.
He has a question for you.
What he got to say?
Dark skin caramel brother, what do I need to do?
What does he need to do? Okay, so let's talk about men versus women. Let's go into that. So again, gender is not a huge deal, but there's one big thing that stands out. Men have more circulating testosterone. So because of that, they tend to have thicker skin, which means products won't penetrate as easily. So they can use exfoliants either more often. So they can use chemical peels more often or in higher concentrations because they need to get through that skin. So they have thicker skin. They actually have more collagen and elastin in their skin than women. So they age slower. So that's why people like Sean Connery, didn't he get better looking with age? I swear he got better looking.
Yes, he did.
So men tend to have that about them, right? That je ne sais quoi, like they just get better with age because they age slower. Their collagen and elastin just kind of stays around with that thick skin. But with also with that testosterone, they tend to have more oily skin. So they're more prone to breakouts, particularly when they're in their puberty stage. So they have more breakouts, which means they may be looking for lots of acne treatments. And then the other thing is they have larger and more hair follicles because they grow facial hair. So, and that's really where I think is the biggest difference between men and women. I mean, I think because, everybody gets acne. That's nothing new. They'll have to use things like women use, salicylic acids, maybe at a higher concentration because they have thicker skin. They may have to use benzoyl peroxides. And because they have thicker skin, maybe over-the-counter medications won't work for them as well. They may have to see a dermatologist, take things by mouth like Accutanes and clindamycins and things like that. But in terms of the hair, so let's talk about these beards and facial hair. Because that's a big thing, particularly if you're past the point of having acne, right? So Dr. Joff is past that stage. He way past that stage, as a matter of fact. He way past that huge stage. So in terms of the skin underneath your beard. So the skin underneath a man's beard is usually very dry. And the longer his beard, the drier the skin because the oil has to try to keep up with that length of hair. So men can get dandruff in their beards, which ain't cute. They get really itchy skin. They get ingrown hairs, folliculitis, which is infection at the hair follicle. Because remember, that hair that's growing out of their face is more akin to pubic hair. I know that sounds gross, but it's thick and wiry, just like the hair down there. So when it grows out, it can get caught under the skin, cause inflammation, cause infection. So men have to be very, very cognizant of taking care of that skin underneath their beards. So there's a few things that they can do. One is beard oil. Now, people are plus minus on all this beard hair care products. But let me just say this. So beard oil is essentially like jojoba oils and argan oils, coconut oils mixed with a little essential oil for fragrance. And that's really just to bring more oil to the skin because it gets so dry underneath there. So it's important to keep it moisturized, keep it hydrated, to keep oil there. So beard oil is really, really good. Plus, it's good for the actual hair itself. The other thing is with beard shampoos and conditioners. So there's some people who say just use the shampoo that you use for your regular hair. But remember, this hair down here is very coarse. So it needs ingredients that are going to get into that hair shaft to make it stronger, to make it healthier. So you may want to invest in a beard shampoo or a beard conditioner. You may need higher concentration of ingredients to get into those hair shafts to make it nice and thick and healthy. And then also you want to keep it trimmed, keep it nice and neat so it's not fly away and all crazy looking. And that's just good grooming. I mean, women, we don't want to see all this craziness. Keep it nice and tight. What I'm saying? But in general, that skin is very sensitive in here and it does get very dry. So you want to keep it moisturized underneath that beard. And, beard oils and shampoos and conditioners that are specially formulated for that do help. So,
okay. Well,
listen, he has thick skin. We know he got thick skin. So he can use some exfoliants, some chemical peels, let that beautiful skin shine through. He's a darker brother, so make sure he's using moisturizers, make sure he's using SPF. And then serums, I really like serums. So after you clean and wash your face, some people use toners. That's plus minus if you've never used it. You don't have to, but I love toners. And it's basically something that just brings, it's usually just like a liquid that brings your skin's pH back down to normal, which is like 4.7, 4.7 to 5.5, but 4.7 is what the literature shows. And that just makes the flora on your skin healthy. So you want to get that pH back down. It's almost like, women who have a pH imbalance in their private parts, they end up with a yeast infection. Same thing for your face. You want to make sure your pH is balanced on your face so you don't get infections. And after your toner, you really want to start using serums. And that's just like super nutrient ingredients that are like almost like a smoothie. You know how in a smoothie you can throw like as much leafy greens and all these superfoods in it to really get a boost of vitamins into your body. That's how serums are, but for your skin. So it's super concentrated, nutrient rich, usually an oil or liquid that you can put on day or night to just give your skin that extra oomph. And then the moisturizers and the SPF if it's in the morning time.
Awesome. We've got a question from Derek online here. He says, as I get older, I get dark spots under my chin. However, I have no facial hair. And he asks, what product should I use for those dark spots?
So in general, dark spots, and this goes is, I don't know how dark he is, but this goes back to the hyperpigmentation or the pigmentation problems that medium complexion. So anybody that's brown and beyond typically will have issues with pigmentation. And it could be, it could be allergens in the air that's causing an irritant. It could be the sweater that you wear. It can be the detergent, the soap. Who really knows what it is? But in general, if you want to use products over the counter to counteract that pigmentation problem, you want to use things that have kojic acid. You want to use things with hydroquinone, 2%. If you need something stronger, of 4% and above, you have to get a prescription. Vitamin C is really good for with pigmentation. Vitamin E is really good for pigmentation. Niacinamide. So those are ingredients that I usually go by ingredients. I don't really focus so much on products as I do what's in the bottle, right? Because a lot of times you think you have a great product and they'll change the formula and you don't even know it.
Oh, right. It's true.
So I really try to follow ingredients more than I follow just product lines. So those are good starters. Those ingredients, look for things that have those ingredients in it. If that doesn't work, sometimes you might need a steroid cream. Maybe you do have irritation and you need to see a dermatologist and they can give you a steroid cream. Or maybe you want to use laser treatments. Laser treatments are really good. I've done PicoSure before because I have melasma from pregnancy. And that's something, those melanin or the melanocytes, all that melanin is kind of deep seated in the dermis. So, just using kojic acid for me just wasn't enough. So I went to lasers and got great results. Eventually it came back with the sun. But if you use laser treatments when everything is refractory to over-the-counter stuff, laser treatments are a really good resource for getting rid of that pigmentation. And like I said, for darker skin tones, a PicoSure, a Pico laser is really good and safe for darker skin tones, as well as the Morpheus 8. But again, you want to make sure you're not overdoing it because you can always overdo it with a laser or any over-the-counter products. Mm-hmm. So you might have to space out your laser treatments a little bit longer than someone with lighter skin. You may have to have one sitting a little bit less time than someone with lighter skin. So just be cognizant of that. And whoever is doing the procedure, whether it's a dermatologist, an esthetician, make sure you discuss with them, the issues you're having, the concerns you have because of your complexion, and have they had experience with people that look like you.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. So I wanted to spend a couple minutes on some of the things that you have in your product line, because I personally haven't used that type of, different process for my skin. And so I just want you to share with us the benefits of it and kind of explain to us what you actually currently have in Famous AF product line.
Okay, cool. So Famous AF is essentially chemical peels. It's a chemical peel line. And I started with 2 chemical peels just right off the bat. And what started all this was because, like I said, I myself have had skin problems since I was younger. So I started off with acne ended up having babies and had melasma. And now I'm entering the stage where now I have wrinkles. So I'm just like, every problem there is on the spectrum of skincare problems, I've pretty much lived through it. And so I wanted to create a product that kind of eliminated a lot of steps because, you know, a lot of times you just want to wash your face and go to bed, right? You want to kind of limit how much you do. So I wanted to create something where I can just kind of attack a lot of things at once and be done with it. So I came up with a couple chemical peels, and I'll pull them up right now, even though they're shiny, so you won't be able to see it. But this one is the Original Glow, and this is kind of that everyone can use it. It's for sensitive skin. It's not too strong. It has glycolic acid, lactic acid, and salicylic. So not only are you addressing some of the blemishes with the salicylic acid, but you're also like lactic acid is a humectant. So you're drawing water into the skin to plump it up. You are using glycolic acid to get rid of all the dead skin cells that are on that top layer of the skin so that what's underneath can shine through the healthy skin. And then this one is the Glotorious BIG. Glotorious.
Glotorious. All right. Now.
The Beauty Intensifying Gel. And that one is just a little bit stronger. So the concentration of the acids are a little bit stronger. So you can see results a little bit faster. Or if like you're a guy who has thick skin, you might want to use something that has a little bit of a punch to it because the Original Glow just takes a little bit too long for you to see results. But essentially, I just wanted something that would exfoliate because I love exfoliation. I think everybody benefits from exfoliating that dead layer of skin. And it also helps in your products getting into your skin. So if you exfoliate and get rid of that blanket of dead skin, tightly bound cells that are really doing nothing but not letting the good stuff in and keeping the bad stuff in, once you get rid of it, the products that you want to use actually get to penetrate deeper into the skin. So exfoliating is really, really a good routine to incorporate into your skincare regimen. Whether you do it, some people do it every day. Some people do it once a week or once a month. It just depends on the needs of your face, right? Or what your skin is doing, what it's feeling like. I personally do it, once a week. If I have a problem area, I might spot treat it in that one area. But exfoliation to me is key to anything working. As a matter of fact, sometimes before you even put on makeup, you might want to do a quick exfoliation, put the peel on for 30 minutes or an hour just to get rid of it all so that your makeup looks better, right? So your makeup has a nice fresh palette. The fine lines are a little softer, the pores are a little less deep, and the flakiness is now removed. So I can't speak enough about exfoliation. I love exfoliation. And so that's why I decided to make chemical peels, because I think no matter what you're doing, I don't care what your skincare issue is, exfoliation to me is key in making your skin look good and making the products that you want to use actually work.
So is the chemical peel like a mask? You put it on like a mask? And
you do. It's like a gel, and it kind of has a little shimmer to it. So if you wanted to walk out of the house with it on, you could do that. And you just put like a pump in your hand, kind of wipe it over and just let it sit for, I say on the bottle 30 minutes, but everyone's skin is different. Some people might want it less. Some people might want it more. I've used it overnight sometimes.
Okay.
But everyone is different. And, everything that you put on your face, your skin is really trial and error. You have to see what works best for you. But the other ingredients, so I do have kojic acid in it, which is good for hyperpigmentation because I had issues with that. Obviously, the peeling components, the acids are good for the fine lines and wrinkles. You have humectants in here, which are good for drawing some water into the skin to help plump things out. So I tried to use ingredients that I've used myself that I feel work. So I don't have like a rare Himalayan flower or a red algae from some Mediterranean sea. I just use things that work. Yeah. And after all these years of kind of dabbling in so many different products, I just compiled a list of like, these are my must-haves. I always want these in everything I look for. So let me see if I can put it in a bottle and make it into an exfoliant. And that's essentially what I did. And I just tried to make it so it kind of, touched on pretty much all the problems I have, from blemishes to hyperpigmentation to fine lines and wrinkles. And I think those are kind of the three things that most of us are concerned about.
All right. Now, where can we get this?
So famousafskin.com, you can buy it online. If you're in the LA area, Girl Cave LA, which Leah Diaz, she was one of my, she was on Married to Medicine LA as well. She has like 4 or 5 different beauty supply stores. You can buy it in her stores as well. She has them in Crenshaw, Inglewood. She has them all over. But online is where you can buy it.
Okay. Definitely we'll have to look into that. So let's see. It's interesting that there's the men are really asking the questions this evening.
Are
And
they?
yeah, I don't think I've seen any questions from the ladies yet.
What?
Um, but yeah, no, I haven't. But there's some other things in here that are some questions we have. Okay, so back in the day, I don't know if it was the 40s, the 50s, 60s, or whatever, there was this thing called vanishing cream. And people were using this cream to, I don't either lighten their skin or they were trying to remove blemishes. Um, I guess it's a thing in the past. I don't know. Or is there an alternative solution, or do you recommend maybe we just do the exfoliation and chemical peel to also help with blemishes and stuff like that?
So with vanishing cream, I don't know what if they were putting lye on their face. I don't know what they were doing back in the day, but yeah, it was like making them like white, like really.
Yeah.
So that has obviously fallen out of favor. But like I said, there are lightening ingredients that anything you buy that says it's going to lighten or brighten something has these ingredients in it. And that's the hydroquinone, which you have to be careful because long-term use of hydroquinone, one, can affect the liver. So usually when you use it, you should use it for 3 months on and then off for about a month or two, and then you can reuse it again. But sometimes when you use hydroquinone for too long, it also has a opposite effect. So I personally can only use a little bit of hydroquinone because after a while, my hyperpigmentation gets darker. So, sometimes the treatment ends up being the problem. But in general, hydroquinones are used to lighten hyperpigmentation, the skin, whatever blemishes you have. Kojic acid, which is, I think, an extract from mushrooms, has been used and has been very successful. Vitamin C, vitamin E, niacinamide. So those are kind of like the more common things that you'll use. And then obviously the lasers and stuff like that. But whenever you use a chemical peel, and whether it's my chemical peel, Famous AF, or you use something stronger like a Jesner's or a TCA, or a phenol peel. Phenol peels are the ones that literally rip your face off, and you have downtime of like a week where you can't really go out because your face has to like regenerate itself. Even those do have an element of lightening and brightening the skin. I've given my chemical peel to a lot of colleagues at work, and it's funny because I'll see them one day and like, oh, your skin looks really bright. I mean, you look really great. Like you're glowing. And they'll start laughing like, girl, I used your pill last night. I'm like, I did not know that. I did not know that. But it just shows you that exfoliating, it really does make a difference in making your skin just look brighter and not whiter. We're not trying to go from dark to white or medium. It's not about being lighter or whiter. It just makes it look clearer. It makes it look brighter because you got rid of all that gook, all the dark spots are now a little bit lighter. So I can't really stress how important, girl, exfoliate.
Okay.
Exfoliate. And, if you don't want to use chemical peels, there's also, scrubs if you want to manually do it with a scrub. I don't really like scrubs as much. But they have some that are really, really fine. I think those are good. But the ones where you can feel like big old beads, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to tear up my skin. And sometimes that, everyone is different. I feel like sometimes it might tear my skin up. So, and people who have sensitive skin might not like that sensation of like, rubbing against their face. But it's still a great way to exfoliate. So whether you use a scrub or chemical peels, I think exfoliation is really key.
Yeah.
Key. And in looking and making your skin look good too. um Not only do you want to work on the outside, but you also want to work on the inside, right? So you want to
Yes.
make sure that you're getting, the proper water intake, right? You want to make sure you're eating right, foods that are high in omega 3s or polysaturated fats like fish. You
Mhm.
want to make sure you're getting that to help moisturize the skin, keep it nice and firm. You want to make sure you're getting protein on a daily basis, the chicken, the meat,
Mhm.
because that protein is broken down into amino acids, and those amino acids are made into more proteins that we use for our skin, like collagen. So we'll use that protein and make our own protein from it. So those are things that you want to make sure your diet has. Vitamin A, carrots, and pumpkin. Vitamin A is actually what retin A is, and the
Mm.
retinols that come from vitamin A. Vitamin C, think collagen. So vitamin C is going to help build or keep that shape of the collagen molecule. So you want to make sure you're getting your vitamin C. Everything is fortified with vitamin C, orange juice and dairy products. So you can easily find vitamin C. You want to maybe you want to include some zinc into your diet. Zinc is, and it's one of those anti-inflammatory minerals that are supposedly really good for acne and any eczema, rosacea, any kind of inflammatory process. So you want to make sure you're getting zinc in your diet, and that
Okay.
would be things like meats and shellfish as well. So you want to make sure that everything is you want to be well-rounded, right? You got to
Yeah.
drink water. You got to drink water. Every cell in our body utilizes water. 60% of our body weight is water. So you want to get as much water as you can. They used to say that you had to have 8 cups of water a day.
Yes.
I think for kids and teenagers, it's 8 cups a day. But I think for adults, for women, it's like 9 cups. Men, it's like 10. If you're pregnant, it's I think 12. If you're breastfeeding, it's 13. So you have to make sure that you're actually getting that
Mm.
water intake, because water is going to plump out your skin and make you look better. Without all that water, you look dry, your skin looks sunken in, you're ashen. You just don't look healthy. It shows. And you can get water from all sources. So when they say 8 cups a day or 9 cups a day, that's all sources. That's water, that's beverages, and that's food. So if you are eating something like watermelon or cucumbers, which is like 90% water, that's part of your water intake. You're on track with getting that water intake. So it's all sources. It's not just drinking and guzzling water, because some people just don't like to drink a lot of water. But
True.
eat a lot of watermelon then, or eat some cucumbers, or drink beverages that aren't so sugary that it kind of negates the whole point of it. But yeah, so those things are important too. You got to think about the inside as well as the outside.
Absolutely. So we have a comment from Juanita. She says, I've always wanted to try a chemical peel, but I'm scared. I have nice skin for the most part, and I wash my face with Dove soap and I use coconut oil. So I guess that, she.
So this is what I would say: if you don't have no problems, don't start no problems. If you got great skin, wash it, moisturize it, and put an SPF on. And maybe you can add like a retinol or a hyaluronic acid, a little bit of a serum that kind of does a little something extra. But if you don't have any problems, don't even start having a problem. Don't
Mhm.
don't mess with it. Some people are just genetically born with perfect skin. And I am not one of those people, but I have met some. And my grandmother was one of them. Her skin was flawless. It was perfect. I think she put Vaseline on her face. She didn't do anything. She's very, very dark. So she had the benefit of melanin, right? So she had the extra collagen. She had the extra elastin, so she might've got dry. She put Vaseline on it and that was it. But I wouldn't recommend that she start doing anything new. I can't, I'm not going to just sell something just to sell it. If you don't
Right.
need it, don't start it. If you don't need to, if your skin is working for you, let it work for you. Wash it, moisturize it, SPF it, and that's all. But if you have a problem, that's when things like exfoliation can help, right? Things like serums can help, because whatever you're deficient in, a serum can give it to you. When your skin is looking kind of dull and dry and just like, a chemical peel will wake it up because you just peeled it off and now you have this beautiful glow going. So my suggestion would be, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's a good point. So I've noticed that, especially, I don't know, big occasions or things like that, women will get their face beat and they'll get all this, makeup and whatnot on. I've done it before for when I turn, a milestone birthday and whatnot. But in terms of the right products and the right thing to do in terms of taking that off and making sure that we are really truly stripping off all that extra makeup, what do you recommend?
So usually what you want to do when you take off your makeup, you might want to do a double cleanse. So that's
Mm,
where you use something that's specially formulated to take off makeup, just to get it all off, and then use your regular cleanser after that. So one thing that's really good for taking off makeup is an oil base, like a jojoba oil or argan, coconut. But people don't want to put a vat of oil on their face, and that's understandable. But you want a product that has, oh, I didn't bring it over here, that has the ability to get that oil that's in the makeup off your face. Regular soap does not do the trick.
yeah.
It has to be specially formulated because there's something about makeup. It's the oil that they use in it that you have to use something formulated for it. And I use it's Clinique. You want to go run and get it? Let me go run and get it. And
Yeah,
I'll show you
yeah,
guys what it is.
please.
Let me
So
just
while
run
she's
quick
running to
one.
get that, anybody who has questions or concerns about their skin, you can type it right in the chat, whether you're on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook. It all shows up in one spot for us. So feel free to ask your questions. All
Okay,
right.
so this is what I use. It's where are you? It's a Clinique, and it actually goes with their scrubber. But I use it just by itself, and it's a cream, almost like a cream. Let me show you. It's like it kind of looks like a whitish cream, but it has that, what is it? You know how dishwashing detergent has
Oh, yeah.
that
Stripping.
yeah, it gets the
Yeah.
oil out, right? That's what it reminds me of. And I think most makeup removers, like the soaps that take it off, have that ability. It's almost like that detergent where it gets the grease out, because makeup is it's so oily that regular soap just doesn't do it. So a double cleanse is really a good way to make sure you have it off. You cleanse with your makeup, my Clinique, and then you use your regular soap. I use Dove. And then after that, you continue with your regular skincare regimen. So whether that be a toner, a serum, maybe you want to do a treatment, and that's like a chemical peel. Maybe you have a blemish and you want to address a blemish. But I would say this, whatever your regimen is, treat the problem that you have that day. So some days you don't have problems. You don't have to do all these steps. Just wash your face, moisturize it, and go to bed. Or maybe put a serum on it. But you don't have to do all these steps every single night. If I'm having a breakout, I'm nursing a pimple. I'm not doing all the anti-aging and all this other stuff. I'm focused on that. If I have no pimples and my skin is looking good, I might not do anything. I might not put anything on my face. So really your regimen, your skincare routine should really address whatever problem you have that night. And it might be different every night. Sometimes you don't even feel like going through all the steps, in which case, don't. You know what I mean? Sometimes less is more. But I think people need to know that you don't have to do the same thing every night. Every night is a different night. Every day is a different day. And your skin is going to want different things from you. And so you have to listen to it and give your skin what it wants. If you start to notice you're looking dull, tonight is a treatment night. I'm going to do a chemical peel.
Yeah.
And after that peel, I'm going to put a serum on it and some moisturizer, and I'm done. So it just depends on what your skin is asking for. I say just listen to your skin and give it what it needs that night.
Awesome. So we got about 10 minutes left on the show. I haven't seen any more questions come through, but if you could just run through those products again for us, because I am interested in some of those, especially the chemical peel, because like I said, I haven't done it before, but I feel like sometimes like I probably should. There's probably dead skin out there. And I'd like for our listeners here too, to, if they have similar issues, that they have an opportunity to at least try your product.
So my products are chemical peels, and you can get them online at famousafskin.com. Right now I have two. One is the Original Glow, and that's a chemical peel. They're both chemical peels that will address fine lines and wrinkles, hyperpigmentation, dry skin, and blemishes.
Okay.
And one is a little bit stronger than the other. The Glotorious BIG, Glotorious. That one, you can tell what era I grew up. That one is the stronger of the two.
Okay.
And you can use it. I have people who use it every night. It depends on what your skin asks for. You can use it once a week, once a month. Just depends on what you're looking for in your skin. If it starts to look dull, you start to have flaking, it's just spotty, try a chemical peel, wake it up, and get a good serum. Serums will be coming soon. I love serums, so I'm going to create them too. But another thing too is pay attention to what works for you. So if you start to use a product, you should take note of it. And as a matter of fact, I have something for you. If you go on Amazon, I have a skincare journal that I created because, sorry, my throat, because I've gone through a life of having skin problems, and you have to, it's hard to keep track of all the stuff you've used.
Yes.
What worked, what didn't work. When did I use this? Okay, I used that one, but did I use that one before it or after it? I can't remember. So I created a journal, and it's called 90-Day Skincare Journal, a guide. So you can get it on Amazon. It's a journal and a guide. And if you go through it, it basically gives you space to keep track of what your skin looks like, what it feels like, what your goals are, what you want to achieve, what your issues are, what products have you used, what procedures have you had done, how much did it cost, how long did it take before you used up the product, how many sessions of lasers did you have to go through. But it's something where you can kind of write it down and keep track of it so that you'll know for the future, right? It's a diary. It's a diary for your skin, because your skin is the biggest organ that you have. It requires a lot of work and a lot of attention. And so that's why I created the skincare journal. There's also recipes in here for making like masks at home and scrubs at home. So I put information in here about a women's menstrual cycle and how that affects your skin. So there's a lot of extra stuff in here for you not to only learn about your skin, but learn what skin does and how skin reacts to it. I have definitions of different products and different ingredients. So people can become familiar with, oh, I read about this. Okay, so this is, let's see, what do I have? Provitamin B, panthenol. It's a moisturizing agent that also hydrates. You know what I mean? So I have like these definitions in here.
Wow. Okay.
So that people can kind of get accustomed to all these different ingredients that I've learned over the years, but it's not second nature for other people. So if they see it in their product, they can look and say, oh, okay, all right, well, sodium hyaluronate, that's the salt version of hyaluronic acid. So, it has little tips and information. It talks about your menstrual cycle. It's a lot of stuff in here, not just, the journal component, the top 5 cabinet must-haves. These are things that you should have in your cabinet. Did you know all these things about your skin? So it's informative, but it's also something that you can kind of journal in to keep track of what's working for you, what's not working for you. Sometimes you don't even realize it until you go back and read it, and you're like, that's when I broke out, when I started that new product, and I should have been using Famous AF.
That's right. That's right.
And then I'll have another journal coming out next month, and that's how our skin is affected by the different seasons. And that'll be out the end of October. So it's on Amazon.
Okay, great. Skincare, 90-day, what is it called? 90-Day Skincare?
90-Day Skincare Journal and Guide.
All right. Yes. So people, make sure you get out there on Amazon and pick that up, because it's all about looking good, because,
That's true.
This time goes by fast. You look up, you're like, oh, wow, how old am I now?
I know. Time flies.
It does. It does not wait for anyone. So if there aren't any additional questions from the audience, and it doesn't appear to, but we got some pretty good numbers here for listeners, and I'm sure many people will watch this after the fact. I know that Derek had asked for a listing, I think, a list of those the ingredients you have mentioned before. I think as components of what was needed in the
Oh, for the pigmentation
skincare.
problems.
So maybe at another time, or maybe you can put it in the chat somewhere or something, or
Can I type
post.
it in the chat, or how does that work?
Do you see on your right hand side any chat?
Oh, comments. Yeah, I didn't see that. Okay.
Yes.
How do I type it?
It should be post a comment to all at the bottom. No. If not, you can definitely go on the Facebook after we close here and just put comments in, and then I can replicate that in the other sources like Instagram and YouTube. So if there aren't any additional questions, I'm going to give you like a minute, 30 seconds, whatever you like to just wrap up here. But I just want to say thank you again, as always, for the information you share with us. I know I can't stop talking about COVID, but you've done an amazing job in terms of promoting the vaccination and us just keeping healthy on various shows. And now we're talking about skincare. And so I'm excited because although I feel like my skin is okay, I probably could do better. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out here listening that feel the exact same way. So hopefully this was helpful to those who are listening in, and that you got some really good information, that you get the chemical peels, this upcoming serum that she will be launching soon, the books, both the one that's available now and the one that will be available next month. And just keep safe out there. And I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Tim so she can
Okay.
get.
Well, I just want to say thanks again, Michelle, for having me. You are a great support. And so I really appreciate all the work that you do, not just for me, but just for everyone out there that gets to listen to all the things that you put on and all the informationals that you have set up. And for everyone else, like I said again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If your skin needs something, it probably needs to be exfoliated. I will say that. But just in general, eat well, exercise, lifestyle. Lifestyle is a huge component of what our skin ultimately looks like, right? Age and heredity, we can't change. But lifestyle, stop drinking, stop smoking, stop staying up late. It'll help them bags and them dark circles. It'll help your skin look better and plump if you're drinking more water, if you're eating right, if you're exercising. So basically, just take care of yourself. Do what you need to do, and you'll look good. It'll show.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And I think this is the close of our show. We got a lot of thank yous coming in. And thank you, everyone at Smack Nation, for listening in this evening. And that is our show. Goodbye.
Thank you.